Back at home, feeling misunderstood. In between these ears ain't nothing good. Gotta get my fix, so it's time for me to go.
G'day, I'm Shane, and today we're going to be talking about the different types of stack hats and which one might be right for you. It's a question I get asked all the time by people who may be just getting into adventure bike riding. Pretty much everyone usually has a full-faced normal road helmet, and they want to know about all the other styles and sort of the pros and cons of them, which is what I'm going to cover today. I'm not going to tell you anything about the individual brands. These are helmets that I've owned and just my experience of them, but things to hopefully help you make a decision as to whether you stick with old tried and trusty road helmet or switch to something a little bit different. Let's get into it. First on the list is the trusty road helmet. Most of us have one. These are, as far as it goes, super aerodynamic generally speaking. Very good at blocking wind noise, or at least mine is. It's a much quieter helmet than any of my others, which I'll get into in a second. And look, if I had a massive big 1,000-kilometer ride that I was going to take on, this would probably be my helmet of choice, especially on road. Obviously it's why they are road helmets. Going from this, which most people have generally started off to, across to the other two, let's break it down. Next up is the MX helmet. I do have fond memories of wearing this helmet quite a bit. I started a lot of my videos wearing these. Look, they're a great helmet. They've got some really good advantages. You got great visibility out of it. Big, wide open area means especially peripheral vision is exceptional. Great airflow into them. And generally speaking, they're lighter than the road helmets. The real sort of downside for me when wearing these is the fact that you've got to wear goggles, and goggles in hot weather can get super uncomfortable. The airflow then in cold weather means you get a pretty cold head. And obviously with airflow comes more noise. So you do have to wear something like earplugs with these if you're going to go smashing down the highway for long periods. And probably the big thing to be careful of, which is fixable, you can take it off, is the big duckbills on the front. These things have a terrible habit of catching the wind. Everyone's results vary. So you may buy one and you may say, oh, I don't feel the wind whatsoever. The only note I've got, if you've got a bad back or your neck, or you're just not used to having things pulling around on you, these things can get really distracting or difficult to ride with, especially on longer rides. It can get very fatiguing. So just a note on that. And then somewhere in the middle here, we've got this thing. It's a bit of a hybrid in between the two, quite obviously, the ADV helmet. So you can generally characterize these by the fact they've got a visor on them. This one has also the built-in sun visor, like my road helmet does. It's terrible. I barely use it. It's all distorted and gross. So these things have the benefits that the road bike helmet does. You can seal it up, you can block off the airflow with the vents, but they maintain the awesome visibility that you get out of the MX helmet. Downside again for these, which is fixable because it's removable, is this duckbill, which can get a bit fatiguing on longer rides. Look, if you're looking at helmets, the one thing I can say is make sure you go somewhere and try some helmets on, find out what works for you. Obviously be mindful, the more mileage you do, especially if you're out on the highway all the time, anything with a visor, you may be taking the visor off, or you may have to consider something a little bit different. Honestly, if I could fit them on the bike, I would ride everywhere in the road helmet and then swap to the MX when I can. But because I can't, I have an ADV. The one thing I should note, when you are looking at helmets, it's really important that you look at the shell sizes that are available. Cheaper helmets like this one here, there's only one shell size, and the way they change the sizes between small, medium and large is by putting different padding in. If you happen to have a small shaped head and they've got a very large shell, you look like a bobblehead and the helmet's going to be heavier than it needs to be. In my case, I wear an XL helmet, so I'm always on the largest shell size. It doesn't make a giant difference to me, but something to consider when you're purchasing. And that pretty much sums it up. So like I said, it's great for the highway, great for off-road, pretty good at both. So take your pick, make sure you try these things on and check them out. Look, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, and hopefully it'll be nice and dry so I can get out and do some more adventures shortly. But speed safely, and I will see you in the next one.